Where has this pursuit taken you?
Oh my God.
Where have you landed?
Why would you ask that?
I'm asking you that here and now. It's New York City. It's
Okay.
March 7th.
Well, partly it's taken to these very strange images that are behind your head right now. These are pictures of equations. I've been, for the last 15 years, trying to answer the kinds of questions that my colleagues here have been raising. And what I've come to understand is that there are these incredible pictures that contain all the information of a set of equations that are related to string theory. And it's even more bizarre than that, because when you then try to understand these pictures, you find out that buried in them are computer codes just like the type that you find in a browser when you go surf the web. And so I'm left with the puzzle of trying to figure out whether I live in the matrix or not.
Wait, you're blowing my mind at this moment. So you're saying, are you saying your attempt to understand the fundamental operations of nature leads you to a set of equations that are indistinguishable from the equations that drive search engines and browsers on our computers?
That is correct. So,
wait, I have to just be silent for a minute here. So you're saying as you dig deeper, you find computer code writ in the fabric of the cosmos?
Into the equations that we want to use to describe the cosmos, yes.
Computer code?
Computer code, strings of bits of ones and zeros.
It's not just sort of resembles computer code, you're saying it is computer code.
It's not even just is computer code, it's a special kind of computer code that was invented by a scientist named Claude Shannon in the 1940s. That's what we find very, very deeply inside the equations that occur in string theory and in general in systems that we say are supersymmetric.
Okay. Time to go home, I think. Where are we going to go? So are you saying we're all just, there's some entity that programmed the universe and we're just expressions of their code?
Well, I didn't say that. Some of those
like the Matrix? That's what you said.
Some of those codes are showing on the screen behind you right now. They don't look like codes, but these pictures, which we call adinkras, are graphical representations of sets of equations that are based on codes. So this is, in fact, to answer your question more directly, I have in my life come to a very strange place because I never expected that the movie The Matrix might be an accurate representation of the place in which I live.
Jim,
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
ولقد خلقنا الإنسان ونعلم ما توسوس به نفسه ونحن أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد إذ يتلقى المتلقيان عن اليمين وعن الشمال قعيد ما يلفظ من قول إلا لديه رقيب عتيد وجاءت سكرة الموت بالحق ذلك ما كنت منه تحيد ونفخ في الصور ذلك يوم الوعيد وجاءت كل نفس معها سائق وشهيد لقد كنت في غفلة من هذا فكشفنا عنك غطاءك فبصرك اليوم حديد وقال قرينه هذا ما لدي عتيد ألقيا في جهنم كل كفار عنيد مناع للخير معتد مريب الذي جعل مع الله إلها فألقياه في العذاب الشديد قال قرينه ربنا ما أطغيته ولكن كان في ضلال بعيد قال لا تختصموا لدي وقد قدمت إليكم بالوعيد ما يبدل القول لدي وما أنا بظلام للعبيد يوم نقول لجهنم هل امتلأت وتقول هل من مزيد وأزلفت الجنة للمتقين غير بعيد هذا ما توعدون لكل أواب حفيظ من خشي الرحمن بالغيب وجاء بقلب منيب ادخلوها بسلام ذلك يوم الخلود لهم ما يشاءون فيها ولدينا مزيد وكم أهلكنا قبلهم من قرن هم أشد منهم بطشا فنقبوا في البلاد هل من محيص إن في ذلك لذكرى لمن كان له قلب أو ألقى السمع وهو شهيد ولقد خلقنا السماوات والأرض وما بينهما في 6 أيام وما مسنا من لغوب فاصبر على ما يقولون وسبح بحمد ربك قبل طلوع الشمس وقبل الغروب ومن الليل فسبح وأدبار السجود واستمع يوم ينادي المناد من مكان قريب يوم يسمعون الصيحة بالحق ذلك يوم الخروج إنا نحن نحيي ونميت وإلينا المصير يوم تشقق الأرض عنهم سراعا ذلك حشر علينا يسير نحن أعلم بما يقولون وما أنت عليهم بجبار فذكر بالقرآن من يخاف وعيد.
Dear friends, come forward, friends. Step forward. I bring you a message few of you will be able to believe. A message of great importance. A message I alone was able to read in the fires of the universe. But be not afraid, my friends. I also bring you the means with which to save yourselves.
Save us from what?
From the end of the world, friend. Which I don't expect you to believe. But the rest of you, those who want to be alive tomorrow morning, I will tell you tonight. Remember that. Bring your friends here. I'll tell you tonight so that you will be able to prepare.
What are you selling, mister? Snake oil?
The world will come to a flaming end at midnight tonight. Without my help and knowledge, every one of you will be dead.
He's gone.
Track Down. Starring Robert Cohn.
You ought to keep riding, mister. Why? Just order, that's all. Comes midnight tonight, this whole town's gonna be dust. Nothing but rocks and dust. Go ahead and laugh. Everybody else is. Everybody.
Morning.
Cup of coffee, please.
Right away.
There you are. Anything else?
Thank you.
Staying long?
Well, no, I just riding through.
Law?
Yeah. Tell me something. What's going on in this town anyway? Did your mayor die or what?
World's coming to an end.
How's that?
Midnight tonight, the whole caboodle's gonna burn up.
Where'd you get that?
Fellow back there.
With the one with the hat on?
Mm-mm. Other one.
He says the world is going to come to an end.
Midnight tonight.
Where's he from?
Drove in this morning. Wagon out front.
Got a name?
Trump.
I bet it fits. Everybody in town know him?
Mm-mm.
But they're all willing to believe what he says.
Well, they're not gonna stop up their ears. He's supposed to give us the whole story tonight.
Well, I don't believe I'll wait till then. Excuse me.
But folks back there think differently.
Well, do they know what's going to happen?
Oh, some of them, they've been told.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Mike.
Well, we got a ranger with us. How are you? I'm Sheriff Farrell.
Obi Gilman.
Something special bring you down here?
I'm on my way back to Porter.
Oh, I heard they sent for somebody. Too bad about the sheriff down there.
Oh, something happened to him?
He died.
Oh, would you care to join us, Mr. Gilman?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Planning to remain in town for long?
Well, I understand I have until midnight.
And you heard.
Yeah, I heard. Your name is Trump?
Dr. Walter Trump. D-U-M-C-S-S-R.
Oh, that's a whole bunch of letters.
Just a few of the degrees that have been conferred on me.
Would you mind running through them again for me?
D-U is Doctor of Universe. M.C. Master of Cometry. S.S.R. Student of Stellar Reactions.
Well, how do you figure that the world is going to end?
Well, that's really quite simple. According to my calculations, tonight, November 14th, the Earth will either collide with or come into close proximity to a comet. In any event, the outcome will be disaster. A cosmic explosion will end all. But the end may come by other means.
How do you see it?
By means of this. Uncounted millions of these is a meteorite. Iron ore from out of space. They will rain on the earth like pepper on an egg, each one red hot, traveling at speeds in excess of millions of miles an hour, molded by their passage into unstoppable bullets.
But you can stop them, huh?
I can, sir. And I will. See, they are drawn to the earth by a force that we call gravity. I have discovered how to repel that force. By doing that, I can save this town.
Well, how?
By means of a force repeller.
You sell these force repellers?
You have a very suspicious mind, sir.
All right, Sheriff. How long are you going to put up with this?
What do you mean?
How long are you going to let this con man walk around town?
Be careful, son. I can sue you.
How about it, Sheriff? When are you going to put the lid on?
What for?
Well, stealing is stealing, whether you do it with a gun or a mouthful of mealy words.
I don't intend to sit here and be insulted, Sheriff. If your people don't want my help, I can go elsewhere.
Now, wait a minute, Mr. Trump. You don't talk for the rest of us. Can you prove he's wrong?
Well, no, not right now, but if you give me some time.
Well, that's something we don't have very much of.
According to him.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. Right now, it's a lot safer to go his way than it is yours.
Well, how did you get to be sheriff?
Look, this is not a suggestion. It's an order. Move on.
Obie didn't know what Trump's pitch was going to be. He was sure of one thing. It was going to cost the people of Talpa. Since the sheriff wouldn't stop Trump, Obie had to find somebody who would. Sheriff Chet Farrow was the gun law in Talpa, and Judge Clement was the book law. It was to the judge that Ranger Gilman now turned.
Yes. Judge Clement?
That's right.
My name is Obie Gilman. I'd like to talk to you.
Oh, come on in. Sit down.
Yes, sir.
Can I get you anything?
No, thank you, sir.
You hear about Trump?
Yes, sir. What are you going to do about him?
What do you want me to do?
Stop him
From what?
from taking the town.
Can you prove that that's what he has in mind?
Well, it's obvious.
But can you prove it? In order to arrest him, the sheriff has to have a charge. And Trump hasn't given him a thing to go on.
What side are you on?
The law? Oh, I know how you feel. Maybe I agree with you. But the law is the law. It's got to be kept.
What if I take him?
On what charge?
Fraud.
Don't you see, he's not exactly guilty of fraud.
Well, what about the meteors and the comet and all whatnot?
You might not like it, Mr. Gilman, but he's right. There could be a meteor rain tonight. The Leonids are due.
The what?
The Leonids. It's a shower of meteors. There's a book about it around here someplace if you want to look at it.
No, thank you, sir. I'll take your word for it.
Look here, son. I live here. I know these people pretty well. And right now, there's nothing in the world could change their minds. And anybody who tries to could end up getting hurt. They're not going to listen.
Well, what if he starts a panic? It could happen.
Well, sure. You might as well try to spit out a forest fire.
Well, there's got to be some way to stop him.
Well, if there is, I don't know it. It's a funny thing.
Sir?
When we were kids, we were all afraid of the dark. And we grew up, and we weren't afraid anymore, but it's funny how a big lie can make us all kids again.
Obie had checked the town. The people were ready to believe. Like sheep, they ran toward the slaughterhouse. And waiting for them was the high priest of fraud.
I am the only one.
Just me?
I can build a wall around your homes that nothing will penetrate.
What do we do? How do we save ourselves?
You ask, how do you build that wall? You ask, and I'm here to tell you. This is your saving. This is your wall.
You mean that thing is going to save a whole town?
Don't laugh, friend. Please don't laugh. It's the markings. It's the magnetic force that is called up by these markings that will care for your loved ones.
How about our cattle? You got something for them?
They have not been forgotten. This is a very rare metal, friends. Mined by ancient Indian women in the heights of the Andes Mountains. It's in Peru, South America. Then it's taken to the secret smelters of old Montezuma, where it's refined and compounded until it becomes magnetium, the embryonic source of the universe. The force repeller is for you, and this little disc, by its mere presence, will care for your animals.
How can we get one of those?
I understand your anxiety, my friend. The thought of death falling from above is not a pleasant one.
You're a liar, Trump. There's not going to be any rain of fire.
Can you deny the meteorites will come? Can you deny the comet?
Well, it's not going to happen the way you say it is.
If it were not for my magnetium, friends, those meteorites would be bombarding us this very instant. Look! Look up there! You can see them! By the billions, you can see them!
There, I saw one.
There's another one. They're all over the place. Man, it's a fake. There's nothing up there. You're seeing what you want to see. There's nothing up there.
One moment. I hope to convince you without this. That man now has made it impossible. This is no longer under my protection. It was my plan to give you the force repellers free. But now that one of you has doubted me, there will be a charge.
How much, Mr. Trump?
$50 apiece.
Mister, he ain't one of us. We don't even know him. Please.
It's a lot of money, Trump.
It'll go up with every word.
Well, where are your meters?
They will come.
Well, maybe you're right, but we could die of old age standing around waiting for them.
$75.
Why don't you keep your mouth shut, mister? Nothing is going to happen. The man is a fake, a phony. Can't you see that? He hasn't got any control of meteorites or anything else.
I don't have very many, folks, and they're $75 each.
Don't waste your money. It's a fake. Can't you see that?
Haven't you said enough already, mister? Now get out of here before somebody kills you. Here, give me one of those.
The price was high. For many of the people of the town, it was out of all reason. And so they tried to find another way. Pieces of silver and furniture carried from homes in the East were uncovered. Vessels of family pride were polished to be offered in exchange for the force repeller.
Take it easy, folks.
Mister, I ain't got the money. Will you take this? It's worth more than 75.
No, just hard cash. That junk's no good to me. There you go.
Please, mister, please.
No, sir, you get the hard cash, you get the force repeller. Get out of the way, would you, son? There you go.
The bank! There's money in the bank!
Sheriff Farrow had seen mob panic before, and always he'd been able to stay out of its way. He didn't intend this time to be any different. He stood quietly and watched the mob grind along the street. He couldn't help but think that Trump had been right. Talpa wouldn't be standing in the morning.
Sheriff, are you still here? We're breaking into the bank.
What do you want me to do about it?
Oh, I don't know, but you can try something.
Look, mister. Maybe you're a hero. I'm not.
All right, Farrah, take off the badge.
Are you telling me what to do?
No, not me, the state of Texas. Now, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to clear this room, and I'm going to start shooting.
We need the money in there.
You're not going to get it.
We got our families to think about.
Tomorrow morning, they won't even look at you. They'll be too ashamed.
Get the banker. He can open the safe.
We save all the time this way. He can get it open before he gets here.
To stay out of it.
Yeah, I couldn't shoot at him, and they wouldn't buy the bluff. I just got careless.
Trump's sure having his way. Most of the people in town have got those umbrellas, and he's still got 20 minutes till midnight. And when the town doesn't burn down, who's going to get the credit?
They had no way of knowing it, but Trump didn't want the credit. He had what he did want: the town's money and a fresh horse. Hobie had been ready to give up. If Talpa didn't want his help, he wasn't going to stand against it. But with the judge's words pushing at him, the ranger decided to have one more try at stopping the entire affair. In order to do it, he had to find the con man before he left town.
Aren't you going to stay for the fireworks? Huh? Looks like you're going to go before everything's done.
I've done all I can for Talpa.
Figure it's time for me to be moving on. Well, I think you ought to wait.
It's where you and I disagree.
You're under arrest, Trump.
What charge?
Well, you write it any way you like. Grand theft, fraud, I think a jury will find it's stealing.
How do you expect to prove it?
You and I are going to be right here after midnight.
Ranger, there must be a couple few things that you don't have because maybe they're a little too expensive. I suppose I was to give you, say, a quarter of this. Be just about $1,250. Huh? I'll go up to half. $2,500. Man could live almighty good on $2,500 anywhere in the country. $2,500 just for getting here, say, 15 minutes too late. Help yourself.
I'll take it all, Trump.
You and me pulling opposite sides of that rope. We could have worked good together.
You're going to go back and tell him, Trump.
What?
You're going to go back and tell him it's a fake. That those parasols wouldn't keep him dry in a heavy dew.
Oh, not me.
You did a good job working him up into this mood, and now let's see you talk your way out of it.
Give me a break, Ranger.
Like the one you gave the town? Move.
Stand right there, Ranger.
Farrah, I knew you'd get me out of this.
Sure, that's why you were leaving without telling me.
Well, you don't believe that. I was on my way when the Ranger stopped me.
Oh, you were, huh?
You don't think I'd lie, do you?
You don't want an answer to that. No, I don't need you now. Every minute you're alive, my neck's in trouble. Hand over the saddlebags.
I'll take it.
Look, Ranger. Now, it's just you and me. We'll tell them we couldn't find the money.
I know where it is. I know you and Trump were in it together.
Look, you can't prove a thing. Oh, where are you taking me?
back to Trump's wagon. You're gonna tell the truth.
They'll kill me, sure.
Won't make much difference, will it?
What?
Well, the world's gonna come to an end in 5 minutes.
Hobie took the sheriff back to the mob. He confessed his part in the fraud. There was no way he could deny it. Hobie explained how Trump had set fire to the wagon, a piece of phosphorus that ignited in the temperature of the air. They wanted to believe Gilman, but they still weren't over the hump. He had to find one crack in their fear, one place to start breaking through. Until the crowd knew that everything Trump had said was a lie, there was no hope for Talpa. The confidence man would always get the credit for saving the town. As long as the parasols were up, Trump was still believed.
It's after 12! Look at
Well, you did it, Hobie. I didn't think you would. Still standing. You know, watching you talk, looking at them. There was just one thing that bothered me. If you'd have been wrong, I didn't have a parasol.
So the first thing we had to decide was which version of the carving that we were going to use, because in ancient times there were many different versions of this carving depending on whether you're looking at Sumerian, Assyrian, Babylonian, Egyptian. They all have sort of different versions. There's many different versions of the winged disc. They all have a similar concept. They all have some similarities between them, but there's some really different designs. So we wanted to pick the one to start anyway that was sort of our hero ship. And when you're creating especially 3D and visual effects, we call the hero ship sort of our star, the one that's going to really take the spotlight. So while there were many different designs, and actually the very first one we did was kind of wild, but I wanted one that was a little more plausible from a reverse engineering standpoint. So the one we decided to choose was this one. And when you're creating visual effects like this, we'll typically start by creating a 3D model. And to create a 3D model, you sort of need a little more information than just a flat-on, one-perspective drawing. And although in this case we really don't have a whole lot, so we had to look at many different ancient carvings, ancient drawings, and any kind of reference that we could dig up. But the main characteristics that you'll see with most of these depictions is that they all have a centralized disc, which is the sun disc, and then they'll all have some sort of wings. In addition to these, many of them have either snakes or little claws at the top front, which we thought were a really interesting design. In looking at the wings, you'll see that the wings are feathered, but what was interesting to us was that the front parts actually had what looked like struts, a design feature that's common in a modern aircraft, where you have the rigid bulk of the wing in the front and the flaps and air surfaces in the back, which are disconnected from each other and movable to allow for flight control. So our first goal was to create this exact carving in such a way that it would create a feasible or plausible flight-worthy design. Number one, just taking into account modern aerodynamic design, for the most part we kept with smooth, rounded front edge surfaces. And like on a modern aircraft, we taper those as they get to the back of the wing. You can see in some of these centralized disc portions that there seem to be sort of multiple areas, and some of the other ancient reference that we'd seen had some designs that were slightly bulbous or even cigar-shaped. Again, we wanted to keep this as true to the original design as possible. So once we finished the first concept for the design, which looked pretty spot on the original carving, we noticed that the ancient carvings had many feather-like flight surfaces, all stacked next to each other, rather than the few flight surfaces like on a modern aircraft. The other thing that kind of came to mind is that these are really big, long wings, which would be really great for flying or sort of atmospheric flight, but really don't make a whole lot of sense when you think about it, because they wouldn't be great for vertical flight up through the atmosphere and out into space, unless of course the whole ship, wings and all, had to be rotated 90 degrees to be able to launch, which also seems a little strange. But then the obvious idea struck us. These feathers were very much like the blades of a fan that could fold together very easily. We also realized from some of the carvings that some of these front-end struts look like they're multi-sectioned. From this, we came up with the idea that perhaps the wings fold in at some point for different kinds of flight. We have many modern aircraft, such as fighter jets, that modify the wing position depending on what type of maneuver they're trying to do. So we went back to the drawing board and we recreated the entire design into a version where the front struts telescope out and pull the blades of the wing out from inside the ship, somewhat like a Chinese paper fan. This idea looked great, was very cool, and looked almost identical to the original ancient carving. But the first time we did the animation folding the wings in, the first revelation was staring us right in the face.
As we know, the universe, one book, unite means one. Verse means book. So the one book we see from the string theory is a program mastered by the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki, as we find in Genesis 1, says, "Let us create man in our own image." So they were the first geneticists. They did the first genetic experiments, and in Holy Quran, as they dictated, when they speak, they say we. So it is not a singular God, it is plural. So these are the scatterers. Surah 51, Holy Quran, speaks of Abraham's honored guest, and the lateral base of the four sides of the Great Pyramids are at 51 degrees. So in Surah 51, the scatterers, El Dariyat, the winnowing winds, the scatterers, the ones scattering the broadcast, i.e. the ones scattering the monuments throughout the planet and throughout the boundless universe. And there's a verse says, "Has not the story of Abraham's honored guests reached thee?" These were the same honored guests who came to Abraham and Lot in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. And these are the ones that build the pyramids. So the Anunnaki, from the 10th Sumerian tablet, in council, while they were still celebrating the construction of the artificial mounds as they depicted in the book of Isaiah, the artificial mounds meaning the Great Pyramids, Enki thought in Gishkadida, the serpent, Mexico, offered a suggestion to his brother Enlil. And this suggestion was to let the future times know they knew that, as you will see in this video, everything was programmed, and the Anunnaki, as it says in the Quran, or Allah, is as close to you as your jugular vein. Surah 50, Qaf, Surah 50 says Allah. So we're talking about genetics. So the jugular vein, it says, and Allah knows your thoughts and so on and so on. He's as close to you as your jugular vein. because they are the geneticists. They created you, so everything is a program. So this is what this video is causing out that you see. So Anunnaki are the masters of this Maya, are the masters of this illusion. There are certain things that help to balance and control this illusion, the mountains, the moon, and different other things that balance all this thing out. You know, they're the ones that place the firmaments, put the rivers, put the oceans, the seas below the firmament and above the firmaments, and place the stars into the firmaments, and place angels to guard the heavens, that these crazy government don't go out there and mess up things. So while the Anunnaki were still celebrating the construction of the artificial mounds, i.e. the pyramids, Enki offered a suggestion to his brother Enlil, saying, when in the future days it will be asked, when and by whom was this marvel fashioned? So they knew that the people in the future were going to be arguing about, oh, how did the pyramids get here? Was they built by 1,000 people rolling the bricks from 100 miles away on logs, and slave labor cracking a whip, pow, and you know, getting up there and taking them all the way up the mountain and all this kind of madness? So Enki said, Lord Enki said, son of Anu said, when in the future days it will be asked, when and by whom was this marvel fashioned? Let us beside the twin peaks a monument create, the age of the lion, let it announce. So when they put the Sphinx there, it announced the age of the lion. So it was in the age of Leo, as we are in the age of Aquarius now. It was in the age of Leo at that particular time. So they put the Sphinx there by the pyramids, and Enki said, and then they said, Allah said, the gods said, in their great conference meeting, the image of Engishkadita, later known as Thought, the peak's designer, let its face be. That was Enki. Engishkadita is the Sumerian name, or the Anunnaki name. Later in Egypt, he was known as Thought. So when he was exiled from Egypt and came over to Central America, he was known as Quetzalcoatl,
Plumed serpent.
Okay.
Plumed.
Led it precisely toward the place of the celestial chariot's gaze. So the Sphinx is pointed, looking toward the place of the celestial chariot. So the mothership will be coming from the area of the gaze. And notice he's looking at the constellation Leo around Regulus. Let it gaze. When by whom and the purpose let it to future generations reveal. Enlil agreed with Enki's suggestion and decreed, let the gazing lion precisely eastward facing with Engishkadita's image be. So that was the decree. I'll read it again. The council said, Allah, same ones who said, let us create men in our own image, said, when in the future days it will be asked, when and by whom was this marvel fashioned? Let us beside the twin peaks a mountain create, i.e., let us beside the twin peaks a monument create, the age of the lion let it announce, the image of Engishkadita, later known as Thought, the peak's designer, let its face be, let it precisely toward the place of the celestial chariot's gaze, when by whom and the purpose let it to the future generations reveal. Enlil agreed with Enki's suggestion and decreed, let the gazing lion precisely eastward facing with Engishkadita's image be. So there are a lot of people nowadays, oh, whose face is there? It was a woman's face. It was a lion's face. Oh, it was a woman's face. You know, the woman is God. And all this madness. But here it says, when in the future days it will be asked, when by whom was this marvel fashioned? Let us beside the twin peaks a monument create, The age of the lion, let it announce. The image of Engiskadita. The peace designer, let his face be. You are now in tune. On the one, the force itself. At this time, we call the Holy Master Blaster Jamin. I am your brother, the Rastafari. I talk. Yes, I am. Let us venture into the light. First, we will start at Revelations 10. The seer John. I was in the spirit of the Lord's day, and I heard that behind me a great voice as a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first, the last, and what thou seest, write in a book and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia. Now let us explain to you the symbology of the 7 churches which are in Asia. First, we will look along the Nile River in Egypt. There are 7 temples along the Nile, 7 temples of initiation. Okay, let's picture the Nile as a spinal cord. Okay, we will take a metaphysical examination of a literal translation. John says, I was in the spirit of the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a great voice. So this behind me depicts John sitting in meditation, looking within himself, focusing on the third eye. While in meditation, John's conscious mind becomes open to his subconscious mind, and his subconscious and his superconscious mind. We'll go through that once more. While in meditation, John's conscious mind becomes open to his subconscious mind and his superconscious mind. The 7 churches and the 7 seals represent the 7 spiritual centers, i.e., the chakras, starting at the root chakra of the body, where the physical, mental, and spiritual forces all come together. The superconscious mind within John tells him that anyone who can regain control of these spiritual centers within their bodies can access the superconscious mind, and as the old sages say, never need to reincarnate again. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Master Blaster Jamin. Now you can tell that to some people and they will never understand it. But let us go to Matthew 6:22, because there are several places in the Bible where the light is explained. The light of the body is the eye. We're in Matthew 6:22. The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. As you go into meditation, you look within yourself, focusing on the third eye. You get to a point where your body is full of light, your consciousness is light, and your eye be single. Note you are not looking through your 2 eyes, so your eye becomes single, your body becomes flooded with light. So let's travel on to Genesis 32, chapter 32, 29 to 30th verse. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. You know, Jacob had went up on the ladder, traveled the ladder, and the ladder is symbolic, again, of your spinal cord. There are 144,000 nerve branches that run from your spinal cord. These are the 144,000 that will be redeemed. And we note that at the time of orgasm, those 144,000 nerve branches become shattered, and your soul, or the area of your pineal gland, start flickering like a light, and you become weak. Your nerve system is shocked. So meditation calms the nerve. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. The number 2023 is a resonant number of Sirius. You will find this in my work. the Lord is my shepherd. The spinal cord usually represents the staff. The staff in the Bible usually represents the spinal cord. Notice the medulla oblongata, the knot there is a tip, the top of the staff. So, and Jacob wrestled with the angels, and he went up to the Anunnaki on the ship there, up to his pineal gland, and he got his revelation. When he came down, he was called Israel, and his followers were called the Israelites. Israel means the light, and the people that followed Jacob were the Israelites, children of the light. So when you make that journey through the 7 churches of Asia, and you raise your kundalini up into the pineal gland, like Moses did in the desert, and he laid upon that staff, and like Jacob did when he rested upon that rock. You know, Peter was called a stone, the same stone that the church was built upon. And Jacob asked the gods, and it's written literally, and Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou doest ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. So he's seen God face to face, just like Brother John did on the Isle of Patmos. Patmos was a desolate place. There was nothing growing out there. So like the Grand Canyon area, there's nothing growing there. Very quiet, so you can sit there and look within yourself. Patmos also meant your inner self. So you sit in the darkness. You sit in the darkness, you know. And then when your pineal gland secretes melanin, then your system, your mind opens up. You know, the DMT flows, and you see, and you see, and you see. So we're going to go down. We're going to read that once more where you can see it. And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. Let me know your name, Lord. And the Lord said, wherefore is it that thou doest ask after my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God's face, and my life is preserved. So he leaped beside the still waters. He restored my soul. So you preserve your life when you meditate. When you become celibate, you still the waters. He leads you beside the still waters. So you are preserving your life. You're preserving the life force. And Jacob said, and my life is preserved. Matthew 4. Chapter 16 verse, and people who sat in darkness have seen the great light. So you go into the darkness. You know, you just say the sun's going down in the afternoon, all the lights are out, you sit down in your second place and you look within yourself into the darkness and you see the light. Matthew 4:16 said, the people who sat in darkness have seen a great light. And for those who live in the land where death casts its shadows, a light has shined. You are now into on the one, the force itself. At this time, we call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. I'm your brother, the Rastafari. I talk. I'm I. Yes, I am.